where we are, Chula Vista. I think it's our 394th straight show from Chula Vista or something like that. I feel like I live here now. Fire department's over there. All right, we got a great show. Mike McKay with the Heroes Movement is here to check in. Have you checked in with a veteran? Now's a good time. Mike's going to remind us he's a great guy. All right, you know who else we got? Garry Gilliam. Are you kidding? Wait till you hear this guy's story. It's insane. I can't wait till you hear his story. It's really something else. All right, what else we got to do? We should probably discount, double check. You'll see what that means. Hey, if you're lining up on the chat line, feel free to jump on in. It's going to be a great show. Let's get it started. I'm a Venice, California-born, Los Angeles-based sports fan, one that has played, coached, announced, and promoted sports my whole life. My love affair with sports started in my own backyard and has led me to this podcast. Thanks to the support of the Amateur Athletic Union in East Bay, I'm excited to bring you Sports Stories with Denny Lennon.
With Denny Lennon aims to bring its subscribers interesting, unique, and uplifting stories. You can find us at sportstoriespodcast.com. We drop audio and video podcasts every Thursday and go live on YouTube Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Many guests have shared their stories with host Denny Lennon, such as Super Bowl and BCS champions Brendan Ion Badejo, Peter Boulware, and Trevor Lawrence, three-time Olympic gold medalist Karch Karai, Kentucky Derby winner Doug O'Neill, NCAA champions Toby Bailey and St. John Smith, Hall of Famers Jimmy Lennon Jr., Rudy Tomjanovich, world champions Boom Boom Mancini and Tim Leary, AAU Sullivan Award winners Catherine Plummer, Sabrina Ionescu, and Spencer Lee. We've also had best-selling authors Wesley King and Wayne Coffey, and our Sports Stories favorite, Norm Bass, the first African-American to play two professional sports post-World War II. Become a friend of the show on Patreon, and you can help keep the dream alive. Go to patreon.com/Denny Lennon or go to our website to see all of our social media links. If you have an interesting, unique, or uplifting story to tell, contact us on sportstoriespodcast.com.
We're coming to you live from the West Coast. That's right, Jinbo's in the 7428 studio. I'm on location at beautiful downtown Chula Vista. Yep, where Mario Lopez grew up. That's right, Slater. He played Greg Louganis in a made-for-TV movie, and it's Slater/Louganis who beat out Karch Karai to the AAU Sullivan Award. All roads lead to Sports Stories, and it's live at 5. Yeah, I'm back. Did we do all our Mario stuff? I hope so. Mario Lopez Town. You can't beat that. Did I also mention he took over for Mark Steinis at Entertainment Tonight? Yet another link to Sports Stories. That's why we came to Chula Vista, to celebrate Mario Lopez. Okay, hey, how about my family? Are you here? My St. Mark and St. Bernard people? How about my VBCers and my AAUers? Hopefully you're all here. Let's review the top 5 states outside of California in terms of attendance on the show. Pennsylvania checks in. I think we got a large crowd coming to see our guest, Garry Gilliam. Florida is always there. We were just there with the JO games. Michigan's coming strong. That's where McKay is from. Our guest, Mike McKay. Texas, always there. And, of course, OHIO handling their business. That's what they do in the Buckeye State. They support. All right. Hey, exciting times. We're looking forward to a really good show. Maybe we should take a look at what happened this week. My producer, Christine, that would be my quarantine partner, producer, Christine, is back at the 7428. Hey, on Wednesday, we went prep to Olympians, and we got some education on the NCAA football situation. We did a season update with AP and Spence. That's two lawyers who talk sports law. They were great, man. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. AP just took the show and was running with it. We had to work to get Spence in the move. But anyways, we got Spence in there. He provided some knowledge too. It was great to have two lawyers that are on call and educating us on this problem. They also chimed in on the Stanford men's volleyball push. Hey, on our Thursday podcast interviews, the Karch Uninterrupted was so popular. We're going to the uninterrupted style. This guy, unbelievable. Norm Bass, you got to dive in on this one. Listen to him uninterrupted. Actually, I should have barely even asked him any questions. He is a super entertaining guy, and hopefully you'll follow us on our video podcast. And this, this is Friday. It's the happy hour show of record, of course, and the bridge is what we're discussing tonight with our guest, Garry Gilliam, and that is Mike McKay. You'll see, I think he cut off all his hair from what I heard. Heroes Movement is going to be our initial discussion. Hey, good times, man. We're coming strong with some stuff, right? This is going to be a great show. I'm pumped on this. The more I dove in to the life of Garry Gilliam, the more I got into this. And not that I discounted Mike McKay, but when I did review his E-Space shot, you'll see what I mean. I was like, that first shot, but the second shot, pretty good. So we'll get a chance to talk to him about that. All right. I think we're doing pretty good. Let's do, let's bring in Mike McKay with a video. That's right. Heroes Movement.
Making the transition from military service back to civilian life is always challenging. The Heroes Movement, a nonprofit, provides our veterans a community where they can rebuild their bodies and minds, allowing them to thrive. Our free strength and conditioning programs are designed not only for our injured veterans, but veterans of all ages and at every fitness level. In 2019, Heroes Movement has sponsored over 6,300 sessions for over 300 veterans and helped them regain the physical and emotional strength that allowed them to serve in the first place. Navy veteran Mike McKay founded Heroes Movement to help veterans make exercise and camaraderie part of their lives. Today, the program can be found across the country in gyms that share Mike's vision. In his home state of Michigan, we work with gyms and programs such as Detroit Thrive, Advantage Strength and Conditioning, and the Michigan Warriors hockey team. Visit us at heroesmovementusa.org, where we take our veterans' healing to the next level.
Oh, you're watching golf. Let me tell you what I did on Saturday. So Heroes Movement is a nonprofit that I work with, and we offer free physical training and strength conditioning to this country's veterans. We operate on very little funds and a whole lot of heart. So we had a softball fundraiser.
Did you play?
No, but this is our entry, Balls and Dolls from ESPN.
All right.
Yeah, I was a cheerleader. Rachel Pearson was our captain. Jess Young celebrating her birthday. And we won.
All right.
How about that?
That's you in the red shirt and the hat.
There you go, yeah. See? I was dressed for success. Top plays, man. Some top plays are made there. Some top plays right here.
Hey.
All right, we told you about Heroes Movement. This swinger right here, this is Mike McKay. He's the founder. He's the heart and soul of the thing. Go back to the softball field. Top play right here. We gave you McKay at 2, but how about Josh Wegge at 1+? Bonus top play. Bilateral amputee below both knees thanks to a bomb blast when he's patrolling Afghanistan as a 19-year-old Marine. Flew into L.A. to play in the Heroes Movement game when inside the park. Showed some of that speed that earned him a gold in the 400 meters in the Invictus game.
All right.
Those are two dudes in the studio tonight. Thanks, fellas.
Hey, look at us, man. Way to go, Christine, award-winning producer, putting it together. All right, let's bring in McKay. Let's shoot it on over to Wyandotte. Am I right, McKay? Wyandotte?
Sure.
Look
Yes,
at you,
sir.
buddy. What did you do with your hair? You know how much fan mail we were getting from the ladies? All right, I think we'll still get it. You'll be okay. That looks pretty sharp. I got to give it to you.
I think I got a little bit worse at hockey, cutting off all my flow.
Yeah, you did. McKay, what's up, buddy? Haven't seen you in a while. How'd you like your walk-up video?
Oh, dude, that was awesome, man. You guys almost made me look cool. That's hard to do. So I appreciate that. Great job, Christine. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. That going on Sports Center, that was really awesome, man. Neil, you can't say enough great things about Neil. And just, that was just awesome. That was pretty cool.
It was, it's really great to have Sports Center on again because it kind of faded out when there was no sports. Now we got sports back. And then just to hear Neil You know, the ham and egger with a steak and eggs on that one through the 5-hole. Just all of his sayings. It's awesome to hear him again.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a little too late for my, it's 1:00 over here, so I don't get to see him that much, but you guys get to enjoy it.
Hey, first and foremost, happy hour toast to you, buddy. We're out here in Chula Vista. I know you're in Michigan. Good, like always prepared. Always prepared. Oh, that's another branch.
Cheers.
All right, buddy. Hey, I'm going to tell you why I immediately reached out to you, and it's because I'm out here at Chula Vista. We're running an event at a secure facility. We're doing it with all proper protocol and the like. But the guy who's handling the check-in, James DeBrody, 21 years in the Navy. This has been his job for the last 20 years. And as he and I chatted, he reminded me of just, my feelings towards people that have given of themselves and service. And he gave me a few reminders. And I thought back to the last time you were on, Mike, and you talked about as this COVID era hit us, about reaching out to a veteran and how important it was that they might be feeling alone at this time, and that it's a good time to reach out. And I did something like that night. I reached out to Mike Martini, and I'm sure you've been doing the same, but I wanted to just reach out to you and say, hey, how's things going at the Heroes Movement? What can people do to help?
Well, yeah, thanks for following back up with us, Denny. It is important. This is a tough time for a lot of veterans, with the isolation and everything, and, some sort of financial stuff could be happening too. So it's, tough times for, guys are dealing with depression already, and then you add all this other stuff onto it. So it is super important that we do reach out and keep these guys, in the forefront of your mind, and continue to reach out. Let them know you love them. That goes a long way. So yeah, just continue to do that. Who's ever watching, reach out to a vet, and let them know you love them. And then as far as Heroes Movement's going, most of the gyms are back up and going, which is awesome.
Oh, nice.
There's only a few that aren't going, and a lot of them are going at kind of half capacity. And how people can help is, we're events based. So everything had come in. We had that Kings game we were going to do, but the charity game with the Kings got canceled. We had another poker game that we're going to do got canceled. I mean, we probably lost about, I don't know, 120,000 or more, probably maybe closer to 140 in our funding. So, and with the gyms coming back up, we don't have a way to pay them right now. So if anyone wants to hop on heroesmovementusa.org and go to the donate page, every little bit helps. So that's a great way to help.
No doubt about it. You're doing important work, Mike, and we'll do whatever we can to support you. Mike, we wouldn't be the show we are if we didn't also bring up, your video interview, which went really well back then. But your initial shot, and for those who don't know, there was a big we did a big contest on Twitter where we took this 12 guests that did the interview at the 7428 studio and their pre-interview basketball shot. And then we seeded them 1 through 12, and then the votes moved them on. And I thought, with the power of the military behind you, Mike, I thought with Neil Everett backing you, I really thought you were going to storm right through there. But you got run over by an athletic director in Southern California. But
you'll have that.
Yeah, that was something. How about we take a look real quick? I think Christine's also put another video together on you. Yeah.
This is ESPN Radio Afternoon on ESPN Radio.
Welcome in. We're glad to have you for more ESPN Radio. Neil Everett, Stan Barrett here. ESPN Radio presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. How you doing today, partner?
I'm doing great, man. We got you on the air. That's number one. I had a great morning. I had a big workout. Stan, I'm into charities. A very charitable guy. Jimmy V,
Yes.
Miracles for Kids, Dirty Dog Squad. And the one closest to my heart is Heroes Movement, where we strengthen our veterans through physical therapy and the physical training and a sense of community. And our leader, Mike McKay from Detroit, in town, and he tells me that Heroes Movement, we're in a challenge to earn a cash prize for our organization from East Bay. And it's so veterans touch your soul and and you're a Twitter head like you are, Stan, I need you to get on Twitter. I need you to go to @SportsStoriesDL. The DL stands for Denny Lennon, who's a friend of the program. Vote for Heroes Movement, and let's bring that prize home and continue to strengthen our veterans who are a forgotten bunch among all of us on this planet.
Right? It was nice. I'm going to give it to you. It was a terrible first shot, but that was a sweet finger roll. And then you get the power of the military's behind you, and the loudest voice in all of sports is behind you, and you still came up short, McKay.
Well, that's pretty much because social media sucks, but whatever.
Yeah,
stuff's worthless.
I would be remiss if I didn't take note of just how sharp you could look in some military garb, and so we put you right next to one of the great Navy men of all time, Thomas Magnum III. He went into naval intelligence. I heard you were offered a position in naval intelligence, and you turned it down to start the movement. That's respectable. However, I understand since you failed the quiz in our video podcast interview, you have dove into Magnum PI, the original. And tell me a little bit what you like about Magnum and the boys.
I tell you what, every single plot is different. It's just like a little bit different. It's I just like, it's good writing. The show Archer steals a lot of stuff from Magnum. It's pretty funny. It's just a couple episodes that Archer clearly stole, and Archer's a pretty funny cartoon in the first 4 or 5 seasons. But no, I'm actually going to Hawaii. I'm going to try to rent one of those Ferraris for like an hour. It'll probably be expensive. In November with all my Navy buddies, we're heading out there. So I'm going to see what some of the Thomas Magnum sites.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you could get there. You could handle your business there. You can even get onto the property. You just swim around from a public facility, and you can swim in that same little lagoon he has right out there.
Oh, nice.
Yep. All right. Hey, Mike. Again, I want to say so many of us really do look up to what you do. We hold you close because what you're doing is important work. And so thank you again for that. And hopefully people will visit and support the project.
Cool. Thanks, Denny. Thanks for having me on. And I just left the VFW. We were setting up tents outside, and we got our big raffle tonight. We got to go back and set another tent. They're waiting for me to do this. Thanks for waiting, guys. But it's also Charlie Crosby's birthday. He's another squid. So I just want to say happy birthday to Charlie Crosby. Hi, Mike Sampson, Terry Baxter, whoever's watching at the VFW. So, Danny, thanks for having me on, brother. I always appreciate it, man.
You're the best, Mike. And while I'm at it, I'm going to bring up my brother, Bobby. He spent his time in the Navy as well. And he's actually visiting here, watching the show. So I got to say thanks to him as well. And my boy, James, checking us in over at the Elite Athlete Center. So anybody and everybody that put in their service, we thank them. And hopefully your organization keeps growing, Mike.
Awesome. Oh, and one more side note. Sure. None of the veterans on our program, as far as I know, caught the Rona, and there was no suicides that we know of. So that's two very important stats. So
excellent. Those are very important stats. All right. Thanks, McKay. Next time you're over, you're going to knock that shot down.
Yeah, hopefully.
Later, buddy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All right. You know what? Every time I check in with him, he's put his heart and soul into that, and he's really created a movement. I like that. The idea is, the heroes movement, and he really has created a movement where so many people have bought in and are hoping to support that. And so we'll continue to support it here on our show. All right. Loving our McKay. And we like to give him a hard time too. Okay. Hey, my next guest, I'm really excited about. His name's Garry Gilliam. We're going to follow the arc of his career to where he is now with the bridge. But since I have an award-winning producer back in beautiful Westchester, California, right there in the Sentinel Adobe corridor where we won Best Video Podcaster Award, why don't we show entry video?
Gilliam grew up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and from the age of 8 attended Milton Hershey School, a private boarding school in Hershey, Pennsylvania for 10 years. Originally for young white orphan boys, it was founded by Milton Hershey and his wife of Hershey's Chocolate. It is no longer just for orphans, and now a family must be below the poverty line to qualify to attend. Gilliam went on to receive a full athletic scholarship to play at Penn State.
And it's Garry Gilliam dragging the Ohio State defenders.
I mean, how many kids play Division I football and get 3 bachelor's degrees? He's been able to take those work habits and make him work as a student, now as an NFL athlete.
And not only graduated, but triple majored. He went on to play for the Seattle Seahawks. Here, he banters with teammate Christian Sicoli.
Finance. And I'm Garry Gilliam. I went to Penn State from 2009 to 2013, and I triple majored in business management, advertising, and psychology.
I'm just curious, how much is it to buy majors over there? I mean, it seems like you got a lot of them.
Oh, we do it right at Penn State. We don't buy majors. We go to class. We go to class.
I was just wondering.
Oh, we do it right at Penn State. We don't buy.
We go to class. Yeah, he did. 3 majors. What the heck? Hey, let's bring him on. Garry Gilliam, welcome to Sports Stories.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, that's impressive, that 3 major thing. I would have thought that would have taken 12 years.
No, if you're focused, you can get it done.
You can get it done. Hey, appreciate you being on the show. It was really fun to, to kind of dive in and learn a little bit about your life, Garry. I'm really interested in the bridge. It's a fascinating idea, and I love the progress you've already made. But I hope you don't mind if we, kind of dive into your life a little bit, which is really interesting.
Yeah, not a problem at all.
So tell me a little bit. First, I like to give quizzes. And if I was going to ask you the 2 most famous things to come out of Hershey, Pennsylvania, or to happen in Hershey, Pennsylvania, one's obvious, but I want to see if you know the other, at least that comes to my mind. So one would be
myself, I guess, right? Is that the
Yes, I'll take it. All right, three most important things. Let's start with chocolate.
Yep, Hershey's chocolate.
Yep, no doubt about that. You're number 2. Now, there's one other thing that I always remembered growing up as a kid.
Would that be the 100-point game?
Yes, it would. Very good. Look at this. We're loaded up with the picture. Yep, it would. And it's such a fascinating story when Wilt did that, because it's got so much legend tied into it. But there wasn't any video or anything at that time, just a little bit of radio. But some AP reporter was smart enough to scrawl out 100 and have him take that iconic picture. And that's what I always knew about Hershey, even before I knew about chocolate, was Wilt scored 100 points in a game there. Did you grow up kind of knowing that fact?
Yeah, they told us about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would imagine they did. Tell me a little bit about Milton Hershey School, which played a central role, obviously, in your life. It's really got a unique story behind it.
Yeah. So as that video stated, Milton Hershey School was founded in 1909 by Milton Hershey and his wife for little white orphan boys. Through the 60s, black males were admitted. Through the 70s and 80s, females were admitted. And by the time that I went in the late 90s, it was no longer just for orphans. You had to be below the poverty line, single parent homes, orphans still. This kid's coming from very challenged backgrounds. And a completely cost-free school. Everything is cost-free. You live on campus, house is free, clothes are free, food, education. And you actually live in mansions, anywhere from 8 to 10 kids in a house. And you have a set of house parents that act as your parents, get you up, make sure you're doing your chores and everything. And the best part about the school, in my opinion, is that when you graduate from the school, they actually provide you with a college scholarship. So for me, I got a football scholarship, so I didn't use my Milton Hershey one, but most of the students don't get athletic scholarships, so they use those scholarships to further their education. In accordance with that, once you hit high school, at the school, it kind of turns into a trade school, and you choose what we call career exploration pathways, kind of like a major or a minor, depending on what you chose. Graphic design, video production, agriculture, drafting, computer information systems, carpentry, automotive, culinary arts, all those things are offered there. And what's cool is they kind of shift your curriculum toward those majors, toward those interests. So kind of like being in college, but in high school. So an amazing school, doing great things for very disenfranchised individuals to give them an opportunity.
Wow, that's crazy. It just to think about how it just opens your eyes to a world that you probably could not have imagined, and then gives you a roadmap on how to maybe achieve those dreams. I know when you were younger, there's different things that interest you. You wanted to be an astronaut, as well as other things. It's interesting. It must have really opened your horizon, being at a school like that.
Yeah, it did. And, just being a black man in America, you kind of only told you're either going to be an athlete, a rapper, or probably selling drugs to get yourself out of, that situation. Now, for me, obviously, athletics helped me, but at Milton Hershey School, like you said, it did open my eyes up to other things. Like I did ballet, jazz, and tap for years. I learned how to play the piano and guitar and different instruments, and got involved in a bunch of different things that you don't get to have a chance to be involved in if you're in public school. Obviously, the athletics were great, but just the environment that Milton Hershey created made it conducive of developing your mind as well. So I commend them, and I'm very grateful for being able to go to that school.
The ballet, jazz, and tap, I would imagine, made you a better athlete as well, much more body aware.
Absolutely. Definitely didn't hurt.
Yeah, I take yoga bar, if that counts, Gary. Yeah, I'd like to think I could make a bucket or two in my backyard about now. Yeah, that's about as far as it goes with me. So you also you played multiple sports, but javelin was your thing in track and field, huh?
Yes. Actually, I had played baseball most of my life at Milton Hershey, and then my sophomore year, I kind of got to the point where I was like, man, like baseball is getting me out of shape for football and basketball and everything else that I'm doing. So I was like, maybe I should do something else. So my junior and senior year, decided to try out track. And like you said, javelin, being a pitcher in baseball, it kind of allowed me to convert fairly easy. But javelin was my main event there, and did really well. I think I'm in the top 2, if not top 1 of distance at Milton Hershey in terms of throwing. So, yeah.
Nice. I encourage anybody that hasn't actually dove in to look on the website. The facilities are first rate. And I mean, you got like a 7,000 seat football stadium, couple indoor pools, as well as, beautiful gym, man.
Yeah, no, it is beautiful. And I remember going on college visits, when teams were starting to recruit me for football, and like I wasn't easily impressed, going onto their campuses.
Yeah.
Like I'm used to these Division I facilities. Like you got to bring something that's, really nice to impress me. But they have amazing resources for those kids, and constantly updating it. So they definitely use their money for the right things.
When kind of diving in and reading up on different things on you, I was going back and I was thinking, I would imagine on some level, Milton Hershey is an inspiration for you to look at what one man can do. Now, obviously, he had a infrastructure around him and so forth, but he had a vision for what he wanted the school to be. Now, it's gone in a different way, but he also created a community within Hershey to support his business. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And you are right in saying that it's an inspiration for what we're going to talk about later. But he created the city so that all his workers had everything they needed in one place, so they didn't have to go out of there. So, the entertainment options are there. Obviously the factories there, the park, the theater, the school, obviously. Like he definitely added a lot of the different aspects of work, eat, live, learn, play, which we'll talk about later with the bridge. But yeah, he made sure everything was in one place.
What so as you move on, what made you choose Penn State? What impressed you? And was Joe Paterno part of the recruiting process, or did you just see him before your first game? Was he part of it? How involved was he? Because obviously he's such a legendary figure in college football, and I'm just wondering how that went and why you chose Penn State.
Joe was still part of it. I believe Coach Larry Johnson, before he went to Ohio State, he was kind of the main recruiter in my area. So I remember him coming right to my school and the office calling me out of my classroom. But he was kind of the one mostly involved with it. And then when we got on campus, we did see Joe Paterno. But I chose actually to go to Penn State for 3 reasons. One, it was fairly close to home. I wanted my family to be able to come and support me. 2, I wanted a chance to make it to the NFL, right? I didn't want to just go to a school that, I'd go there and play football and whatever. Like I wanted a school that had a platform to get me to the NFL. And then 3, I wanted my degree to mean something. I didn't want to go to a school where, in some places like athletes don't necessarily go to class. Like you got a Penn State degree. Okay, I know you went to class. I know what the process is there. Like, this is actually worth something more than what the paper is that it's printed on. So those 3 things together is what got me to go to Penn State.
Did you get 3 degrees?
Yes.
Damn, that is crazy town, man. All right. So interestingly enough, you had what I would call one of the bigger sports stories of all time happen while you were at Penn State, and that must have really jolted you, the campus, and so forth. And there was, both sides that were coming after it. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what it was like to be on campus then, because most of us we're looking at it through Sports Center or through major media sources, and we would see the students on campus, and then Joe Paterno would come out of his front door, and it was very disconcerting, and it was hard for everybody to get their mind around. But one of the things that I originally thought was, man, that must be really difficult to be playing on that team right now.
Yeah, it was a time of uncertainty, to say the least. And we actually kind of saw some of the stuff unfold as you guys did, like right on Sports Center. Like, it came up that Joe Paterno was fired, and I remember earlier that day, I remember that it was November 9th. It was my brother's birthday, so I'll definitely remember that day. It came up and it just said, Joe Paterno was fired. And we're like, dang, like he just literally, we had a team meeting earlier today and he was telling us how he wanted us to stay together and no matter what happened, we got to keep that brotherhood. And then he also told us that he was going to be leaving at the end of the season. And then that night, they fired him on like essentially like an automated message. Didn't even like give him the respect to, do it in the right way, if there is one. But I was actually sitting in my apartment with Donovan Smith and Kyle Carter, who were two new recruits who both actually ended up going to play in the NFL. They did both stay at Penn State. I remember we actually we didn't live downtown, but we lived close enough that we could hear like the riot starting. We heard like a ton of people like heading downtown, leaving their apartments and going downtown. And I remember they looked at me like, what do we do? And I was like, well, we're definitely not going down there. Like, we got to stay here. We got to show this university we're committed to this thing, right? So luckily those two individuals did stay. I think we had a couple people decide to leave, but most of the school ended up, or most of the players ended up staying. I remember before the sanctions had even come out and saying that, we weren't going to be able to play football or whatever. I was like, look, no matter what happens at this university, like, I'm going to stay here. And I think I was one of the first players, if not the first player, that came out and said that. Just because it's important to, when you commit to something, you got to see it through. No matter what's going on, like, we came to this university more than just to play football. Now, luckily, we were still able to play football and did well and kept the program together. And now they're obviously, a top 10 team and doing their thing. So through that time, we definitely did come out as a phoenix. But it was crazy on campus. It was like I said, time of uncertainty. It was crazy. And we were watching a lot of it through TV as well as you. So crazy.
The idea here of having that kind of adversity, is interesting. Right before in California, anyways, we had our stay-at-home, low down, come down on us and stuff. I interviewed a chief medical officer to the Olympic Games and to the World Cup. His name's Dr. Bert Mandelbaum, and he talked about the evolution of humans. And he said, adversity is the engine of unimagined possibilities. And so from that, we've learned to move forward and so forth. And I would imagine, that fire was lit in you at that time, and you made that decision to stay. And now we see a lot of collegiate football athletes that are having to make some kind of decision about their life with their seasons being taken away. And I was curious what your thoughts are on the current state of college football, some conferences moving in one direction and some moving in the other.
Yeah, it's something that we've never really had to go through. So I'm interested to see how it kind of plays out. There's not really a game plan on it. I think, taking in the opinions and the facts is going to, that's going to be most important. I think keeping in mind the safety of not just the players, but also the people they come in contact with is important too. It's interesting. You can look at it from a side that this is a good way for people to kind of be distracted, if you will. Like, let's get away from all the COVID and let's, have an escape in sports. But then there's the other side of it. Like, there's a lot of really important things going on now that really do need the attention of the nation. So, I mean,
yeah,
I don't really know. I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make those decisions, but I hope the people who do, have wisdom and guidance through those things and make the right decisions, and they don't just look at it from a profit standpoint, but they think about people as well.
I bet. Yeah, same. And so you were in uncharted territory with sticking with Penn State. Tell me a little bit about Bill O'Brien, your coach, moving forward and how he kept that together. I know from afar, just being a coach at the high school level and athletic director, how difficult it is to bring a program back up to speed. And obviously you took this big body blow, but a few of you stuck around and you were solid. Like the next year, you came right back with, I think, an 8-win season, maybe something along these lines. And I mean, that fascinated me, right? Because people always focus on the people that go 12-1 and go to this. But I was like, wow, 8 wins in the face of all of that adversity. That was really something. Can you talk a little bit about his leadership and about, your group of players that stuck together?
Yeah. In my opinion, I don't think there would have been a better coach to come in after Joe Pa than Bill O'Brien. And he did an amazing job. He's a great leader. And he just kind of brought like a professional sense to the team, you know, coming from the NFL. Like he came in like, look, I understand everything that's going on, but like, we're here to play football. So when you guys come into this building, like, you know, trust me, I know it's going to be on your mind, but like trying to separate that out. And like, this is now a place for you guys to escape. And he also kind of got like, it was all about camaraderie. And before that, Penn State never had the names of the players in the back of their jerseys. But for that first year out, or I think it might have even been 2 after that, he was like, look, I want the nation, I want history to know the players that stuck around for this program and kept it alive. That you guys need to take pride in not just the name on the front with Penn State, but the name on the back, and really bring pride and honor to your name and your family. And we all bought in. You know, we all bought into each other. We knew that we were going through something that most players and most teams never go through, and that we were going through it for a reason. And, you know, I can tell you that all the players on that 2012 team are etched in history, and you know, we can probably go to Penn State anytime and get a door open for us. But it wasn't easy. And Bill O'Brien, like I said, was one of the best people to lead us through those 2 years. I think it was 2 years that he was there, and you know, made his transition to the NFL. And I don't fault him for that either. I think he did what he had to do, and James Franklin came in and handled business, because the team is exactly where it needs to be.
Yep.
And getting better every year, in my opinion. So Penn State, whoever's making those decisions, definitely did the right job there, and getting Bill O'Brien as well as then James Franklin after that to keep the program where it needed to be.
Yeah, that story right there, it just reminded me of why sports are important, and that idea that, you know, it's that we don't put names on the back, but you know what? Now we do, because this is that moment. And for you to, you know, to go through that, I would imagine it made you a better person. So you moved your senior year from being a tight end to a tackle to give yourself a better chance of your draft status, and to move into what you thought would be your NFL career at that position. And tell me a little bit about it. It must have been difficult not to get drafted, but you probably also knew that there were people out there that wanted you.
Absolutely. So coming into Penn State, I was actually a defensive end before I was a tight end. Switched to tight end, I believe, my redshirt freshman year. They were kind of already plotting on that. I played tight end in high school, obviously, so that was my position. Ended up getting hurt my redshirt sophomore year, and that a pretty bad injury: ACL, MCL, meniscus, patella, a few bone bruises, and a staph infection in my bone marrow. All equated to 5 different surgeries that kept me out for about 2 years. Those 2 years were just around the same time that Joe Pa gotten fired and we were transitioning into our new coaching staff. So that was the year that I was coming back, was when Bill O'Brien was there. And like I said, being tight end, coming from, you know, the offense that he was about to be bringing in terms of, you know, Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady, this tight end heavy offense, like, man, like, it's going to be a tall task. Like, I hope I can do it. I haven't played football in 2 years. So not just was the coaching switch, but then also, you know, coming back and thinking about my career. You know, I had that first year, you know, did well at tight end. I think I had to catch, you know, most of the games. I don't think I scored a touchdown. My role was more about blocking. And I was like, you know, if this is kind of going to be my role, then maybe I should bulk up a little bit and make it my only role and see if I have a shot at the NFL. So at the end of that season, I actually went into Bill O'Brien's office and asked him, like, hey, like, you know, I'm looking at the depth chart. You know, I know I'm your starting tight end, but there's plenty of people behind me that are going to do well. Jesse James, Kyle Carter, to name a few, both went to the NFL. And I was just like, I think I can stack on some weight and compete for that tackle spot, you know. And we sat there for probably about an hour, and he looked at me like, why do you want to do that? And I was just like, look, like, this is what's best for me in my career, and I think it's going to be really good for the team as well. So we ended up, you know, he ended up agreeing on it, and he was like, you know, I like it, Gil, and I'm going to go talk to the coaches and see what they think. So got the approval and started to stack on some weight. And the thought process, like I said, was just like, I didn't want to be an average athletic tight end. I kind of lost a step from my injury, and, you know, you know, all right, let's figure out a competitive advantage here. That's going to be my athleticism as a tackle. Let's stack on some weight. I got the frame. Let's see if I can do it. So got up 305 pounds and was still moving very well. So I was like, all right, this is the right decision. Competed for a starting spot that last year I was in college. And, you know, like I said, like you said, I took my shot at the NFL, which actually was a year before I could have stayed at Penn State one more year. I had eligibility from my injury. I could have had another one, but decided after finishing my degrees, I wanted to take my shot at the NFL. Bill O'Brien was leaving. So we took our shot, and I trained very hard, from January through April. Our pro day was in April. I didn't get invited to the combine. That was in, I think, January, February, because I declared late to the draft being a junior. So I was kind of behind the 8 ball on a bunch of things. So I was like, I really got to be super, super athletic, when it comes to this pro day. So got connected with Lisa Rado and Chad Moreau out in California. And, they put me through a strict diet, strict workouts 2 or 3 times a day, like all treatment. Came back to Penn State for pro day and put up some really good numbers in the athletic realm. I think top 3 of most of them within, across the country for my position, which opened up a bunch of eyes like, oh, wait, who is this Garry Gilliam guy? Like, I thought that this was a junior. What's the situation here? So a bunch of coaches kind of got interested, like, all right, well, let's look at the tape. I literally only had I was splitting time my senior year. So I didn't have much tape. So it was a long shot. Like, hey, this is essentially like a freshman in college trying to make it to the NFL. And luckily the Seahawks, they had actually come in and put me through an individual workout after the pro day before the draft, just to kind of see if I had what they were looking for, not just athleticism, but kind of the mind as well. I remember going through drills, doing my physical things, and the coach would ask me like, hey, what kind of car do you have? What's your mom's middle name? Like, what year was this? Like, it's like, I want to see if you can think and move at the same time. And I loved it,
I was going to say, this is a guy who's going to score an A on that test.
Exactly. And I loved it. But like you said, came to the draft, all 7 rounds went past. I ended up not getting drafted, but I got to choose which team I went to. Almost, I think every team except one, the Dallas Cowboys, which I remember that because I was a Cowboys fan growing up. Every other team contacted me except them about coming to be an undrafted, a priority, free agent, whatever that means. So I was like, all right, I want to go to the Seahawks. They just won the Super Bowl. I don't necessarily have to go there and start. I get a chance to learn. Like, I'm still new to this position. I don't want to go out there, get embarrassed, and then ruin my career. I want a year to get, kind of learn some things. So Seattle was perfect. Got to be around a winning team, winning coaches. They did it the right way, and got to learn the position.
Yeah. And what was interesting is the fact that you had that tight end background and could catch a ball, played into one of the biggest plays in NFL history. It reminded me back in 1982, there was this high school tight end. He played for St. Bernard High School, and they were in the CIF playoffs, Gary. And he on an extra point, did a little down and out. Boom, 2 pointers. We go up 8-7 against Esperanza. Now, what's not important is that we lost 56-8. What is important, Gary, is that tight end was me. What do you think?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, not that you lost. But.
Yes. I remember we went up like 8-7. We were like, yeah. And then, boom, the hammer came down. All right. So enough goofing. You're in the NFC championship game. Okay. Ridiculous, right? Now, for those who are, unaware, when you could stack most of your receivers off to one side, and then if the tackle is the last guy on this side of the line of scrimmage, he's eligible. So we're going to show this play, but I had to ask you a question. Did you have to report yourself to the official on your way in to say, hey, I'm eligible?
Yep.
Okay. And so you're eligible over there, and now nobody thinks that Pete Carroll and the staff is going to call this play because the snap holder is your punter, and he grew up in Canada, and no Canadian ever threw for a touchdown ever. No native, right? And so everybody's tackle's over there. He clearly has given up on being a tight end. Here's and it's one of the best ever. And so we want to roll the reel right here.
Try for first points of the day from Hauschka. And they got to fake it. Ryan gonna float it for the touchdown. Seattle back in it. Seattle back in it. Seattle back in it.
Hundreds. What was that? A discount double check? That's when we comb through your policies and make sure that you're getting all the discounts you deserve.
No, I get that part, but you guys are doing my move.
The discount double check move?
It's my touchdown dance.
So you're a dancer?
No. I'm a quarterback.
Oh, quarterback. Whoa. Where's your teacher?
Get out of here.
Aaron Rodgers got...
Seattle back in it.
Yeah, we like to have some fun. All right. The fact that you did the discount double check is unbelievable. That is so brilliant. Okay, so tell me, how come, did that just come to you after you caught it, or when like the play was called, or during practice? When did that come to you?
Yeah, so we actually had, fake plays set up for most of the game just in case we ever needed them, right? So in most of those games, I was like, always thinking as an offensive lineman, if I ever scored this touchdown, what will I do? So I always chose to pick one of the touchdown dances of the most prominent figure on the other team, right? So if we were going against Cam Newton, I would have did the Superman thing. And obviously with Aaron Rodgers, I was like, oh yeah, definitely going to be what I do. And what's funny is, I don't know if you guys could find the clip, or if you did, but John Ryan actually did it too. Right after he tossed me the ball, because he used to play for them, so it was kind of a stick to them. Like, he turned to the sideline and did it just as I was doing it to our. It was awesome.
Oh, that's the best. Okay, and that must have been just an unbelievable moment, because it gets crazy loud in there, like as loud as any NFL stadium. I've been to a few, but that one gets loud.
Yeah. No, and it, like you said, NFC Championship game, like, you're never expecting someone to call a play like that to this rookie tackle, like, and did it, and it worked, and no one expected it, and it sprung, like you said, one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history. And I'm happy that we actually did win that game and didn't, lose 56-8.
Right. That one actually played for you. I don't remember doing a victory dance. So you were down 16-0. You come all the way back. You go to the Super Bowl. Now, for those who don't remember what Super Bowl this is, there's a couple things that stick out. One, Katy Perry comes in on a lion. That's huge. All right, because it's like the most watched Super Bowl ever. And when I say that, I'm kind of goofing, but I'm also saying she came in on a lion. It was impressive. All right, I know you guys probably didn't get to watch. Did Pete let you guys watch a halftime show, or you had to pay attention to something?
No, but actually on the way out off the field, we did walk right past her, so we saw.
Nice. And then the other thing everybody remembers is Beast Mode. The running back for the Seahawks, Marshawn Lynch, he is just hammering people all the way down. You're about to go in. You're at the 1 yard line. And now right there, I'd like to say I thought this in the moment. I said to myself, whoa, wait a second. Pete, just give the ball to Marshawn. Let him fall into the end zone, because nobody likes the Patriots, right? I mean, except for Patriot fans. So I was like, let's go, Pete, right? And I flashed back, 2009, Rose Bowl. Greatest college game ever played. Pete, come on, buddy. Why is Reggie standing next to you? And all you got to do is get 2 yards for a first down, because we do not want to see Vince Young come on the field for Texas. And they don't get it. And Vince Young goes Superman on SC and takes it. And I thought, he'll give it to Marshawn. Okay. Last thought here, Gary. Then I need comment. What happened to you and John just throwing for a touchdown? That could have won it too, because you guys clearly had a 1,000% thing going.
They might have been anticipating that, but no. On the goal line, that was like the package, because I was, kind of like the seventh man in terms of offensive line. So my role was like big tight end, and whenever we got down in the goal line, you bring an extra offensive lineman in. So that's when I would have been going in, and we called like one of our like spread packaging, like zebra or something, where there was no big extra offensive lineman. So we're like, wait, we throw out of that package a lot. Like, what's going on here? And then, the stank, if you will, of that play call actually lasted all the way, I'd say, about halfway through the next season. Now, if you go back and look, we didn't start off very well that season. And it took like a hash out between the players and coach, the night before a game, to really just like, look, like, you got to explain to us what the rationale was behind that. So he broke it down and showed the numbers behind it, and like the percentages of certain plays. Essentially just, kind of overthought the situation. Like, yeah, just hand the ball to Marshawn.
Yeah.
Take our chances.
Put the Skittles in the basket.
Right. Just come on, let's go. But yeah, it was odd, to go back in the locker room after that game.
Ooh.
And just after everything that we had been through that season, the way we won the game before the NFC Championship game with my play and all the other stuff that happened, overtime and everything else, it was almost like it was written in the cards for us to win. And you decided to call a passing play. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, yeah. But one of those things.
Hey, it is also, though, a credit to what a great coach that Pete Carroll is, that he left a national title and a Super Bowl title on the table. Like, right? I mean, it shows he puts his teams in a position. Before I move on, because I actually think what you got going now, maybe so much more significant, already is, than what you've ever done up to this point. Can you just talk a little bit about playing for Pete Carroll and what kind of leadership what did you learn under him?
Yeah, well, kind of going all the way back to high school with Robert Geyer, who was my high school coach. Obviously Joe Paterno, Bill O'Brien, and then to play for Pete Carroll as well. All good coaches in their own right. But he's a good leader too. He's good at motivating people. He makes everything very clear in terms of like what we're doing today, and it almost kind of gets you into a process about trusting the process, if you will, and just every day is the same. Yeah. Turnover Thursday, competition Wednesday, turnover Thursday, no repeat Friday. Like I still remember this stuff, and I'm sure they're still doing the same thing on the team now. But you just kind of trust what he says, and it's like, look, he's been in college doing this. He's obviously been in the NFL doing a great job as well. So a lot of players end up buying into what they talk about there. Just being relentless, kind of playing fast, playing hard, playing together. A lot of stuff that I heard from high school, a lot of stuff that I heard from Coach Paterno as well. But yeah, he's a good coach. He is a good coach. I'm not saying he's a perfect coach. Right. There's certainly things everyone can fix, but he obviously does a good job of making sure his players are ready to play on Sunday as well as when he was in college on Saturdays. So I commend him.
You move you move over to the 49ers in your career, and I don't want to dismiss that, but I actually do because I'm a Rams fan, so I like moving right beyond the 49ers. But really what you're doing now is so important, Garry. What led you to this idea? And I want to maybe first you should preface and let our audience know just what is the bridge, the idea behind it. But then I'm also interested in what it is that led you to be a founder of this.
Gotcha. Well, Kyle Shanahan is an outstanding coach. We need to talk about the team, but we can talk about
okay, fine. He is a good coach. I got to give it to him.
Yeah, no doubt. But no, the Bridge is a real estate development company, and what we do is acquire old schools, malls, warehouses, some of these bigger properties that are in nice locations that don't often have uses for them, aside from just a bunch of housing or a nursing home. Not that there's anything wrong with those things, but we want to provide more resources to a lot of different problems that we see in society, whether it's access to food, access to resources, education, financial literacy, what have you. So the Bridge Eco Village is comprised of 5 different branches: work, eat, live, learn, and play. Within that work branch, co-working spaces, maker space. That eat branch is urban closed loop agriculture, so using solar panels, water collection to grow food on site for not just the local community, but as well as the surrounding community. Live is housing, anywhere from affordable housing to upper class housing, so housing for everybody on site. Learn is like an education center for financial literacy, sustainable business practices. Come learn and learn how to set up an LLC, learn how to grow your own food, learn how to set up a real estate fund for yourself. And then that play aspect is entertainment. So concerts, virtual reality, augmented reality, electric go-karts, trampolines, things like that, providing entertainment options within the city limits of urban areas. So you don't have to leave those areas to get it.
As much as I get on Pete for that bad play call, I got to say that my wife does an excellent job of putting together show notes. And before I was to throw it to you about the Bridge, I was supposed to throw it to this video. So I, like Pete, made the wrong call, Garry. I'll be back right after this. Just hang on for a second because we want to show this as a really slick video that tells the concept a little bit, if you don't mind.
And just FYI, this is Christine, the producer. Hi, everybody. This is actually taken from the Bridge website and just edited down slightly, just so you know.
When you talk about redlining and food desert, lack of resources for a school district, it's all here. And it's been that way since I was younger.
It's food deserts, meaning that people have to go more than a mile to get to fresh fruits and vegetables.
So I think what's really missing here first is affordable housing that has access to food, and those two things together.
And I know how hard it can be, how dangerous it can be, and how many resources they truly lack. And Harrisburg needs this place because the people here, they have such a rich culture and they know how to use resources, but they don't always know how to get them. And that's where the Bridge comes in.
All of that and all in lack of green space, lack of financial literacy and education. there's Harrisburg, but this isn't just a Harrisburg problem. Like, we know that these problems exist in Detroit, these problems exist in Pittsburgh, these problems exist all over the US and also all over the world.
Well, like, what can we do about it? And what can one person do about it? What can a group of people do about it? What can one city, one town, you know, one state, one country, one world? It's about all of it's together and realizing that everything is connected. Like, there's different inspirations for kind of the different branches. I would say that Milton Hershey himself inspired all 5 branches with the way that he set up the town of Hershey. Mixed use development, mixed use site, all what you need in one place with kind of the work, eat, live, learn, play mentality for his workers.
You know, I walk through the halls of this building and I think of all the potential that is packed inside this building. And, you know, I can visualize it. You know, I see it and, you know, I put my own twists on it as I'm walking around and I see the renderings and I'm just inspired.
Honestly, I think it makes sense. You know, it seems like a lot of different, you know, moving pieces and a lot of complexity, but in reality, it's very simple. And it's based off of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Base level of food, shelter, water, safety, security, love and belonging, self-esteem, self-actualization. We're creating, like I said, systematic empowerment.
What I'm most excited about is all the potential that is going to be shown to the world from Harrisburg and all the other cities we end up in. You know, it's really going to be a facilitator of burgeoning potential around the world.
You got to play chess, like I said, have the foresight. You know, sustainability means longevity. You know, like, it's planning now for the future.
So if that's top of mind for investors, if they want to invest not only in businesses that are going to be lucrative, if they want to invest in the progress of humanity, this is for you.
So if you want to be a part of that, then this is definitely the opportunity to get in. And, you know, there's not models like this. Transforming an old school into something beautiful for a community. These buildings are in perfect locations to be transformed and revive the communities that they're in.
It's important to understand that this is just the beginning. We're not going to stop here. We're going to take it forward with our objectives being to get bridges built at least in 8 cities over the next 6 years. We're going to get it done, knowing that it's not just going to take us, it's going to take all of you.
It's like, you know, if not us, then who? And if not now, then when?
We're excited to have everybody join in and just build with us.
Let's build.
If not us, you know, then who? I love it. Your call to action. First, look, that was my wife that stole the video from your website, not me. I want to come clean on that. No, look, I want to kind of return a little bit to what we talked about earlier when you talked about how Milton Hershey set up, you know, a community and how that might have influenced you to move in this direction, move in this direction about redesigning or, you know, redistributing a city's wealth and resources.
Yeah, so 3 major inspirations, actually. Milton Hershey was one, obviously, with the way he set up the town, providing resources for his workers so they don't have to go other places. Mully, actually, M-U-L-L-Y, a Nigerian entrepreneur. He actually has a documentary out there. What he did was actually helping orphans as well. He sold his entire fortune, similar to Milton Hershey, to start a farm and kind of teaching trades to orphans from Africa. And ended up going out in the middle of the Nigeria in like a desert and was like, hey, look, there's, you know, guided by God. He was like, look, there's a well here. People are like, dude, you're crazy. He's like, no, there's a well here. Trust me. Like, we're going to change this landscape, and ended up digging a well, finding water, and transforming that landscape through agriculture. So planting enough trees and crops to seed more clouds, to actually have more rain coming down in the area. And then Nipsey Hussle would be the final one with what he was doing. You know, he was, rest in peace to Nip, killed outside of his clothing store, and what he was doing in California for his people and preaching about ownership and just real estate and everything that he was about. Certainly inspired what we had going on, and really him passing away and kind of doing more research about what he was doing definitely was kind of the last thing. Like, all right, you know, it's time to really put this thing together and present it to the world. You know, this is something that a lot of people need, so let's go after it.
You mentioned Nipsey Hussle. That's really interesting. I, like probably many people, didn't really learn about what he was getting after until he died. And then once I read about it, and what he was doing. And that was in my own community. I mean, I'm not far from where he lived, is where, Christine is right now, where we live. And it took that until, I kind of turned and then realized what he was doing. And it really did make a difference in the community. And it provided that kind of inspiration. You also talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And maybe you could talk a little bit about that, because it seems like, certainly the education that you've worked hard to achieve, you can now kind of see it coming into concrete play.
Yeah. Maslow's hierarchy of need, I think it nails it. And, let's just talk about, if you want to talk to a man or a woman about, kind of spiritual things, or about starting a business, if you will, or anything like that, it's going to be hard for them to listen to you if their stomach is growling, right? They're looking for something to eat, or, looking for shelter, trying to figure out how to pay their rent, right? So before we can even unlock those parts of humanity, let's take care of the base. Let's, focus on food, shelter, and water, which is equality among all people, not just saying it, but making sure that all those people have those resources. And then, as I stated in that video, then you can kind of start to work your way up to the top, that self-actualization and contributing the best of yourself back to society, right? Then there are no weak links, there are no weak chain links, and we're strong as a society. But it starts food, shelter, and water. And, to preach about scarcity in food is not true. We can grow tons of food in a small footprint, right locally for the people that need it. We just got to bring the technology and put it there.
Yeah. And being as a long time, teacher, educator, not only in athletics, but in other sports. And then my wife is in the same world. And we know the difference between what happens in learning when there's security in a young person's life. And that has so much to do with where they live and did they eat breakfast, just really simple things. Are they, afraid to go home? Those kind of things are so important to learning, and to address those in just this way, it makes such a difference. And that's why just seeing that clip just really inspired me, because it seems like you've articulated it in something that everybody can kind of jump on board with.
Yeah. And it comes from experience too. I come from Harrisburg, which, as I stated, is the epitome of systematic oppression. And that's no BS. That's true. And it's been that way since I was younger, since my mom was younger, by design, in my opinion. But then I'm also the other side of when you take that kid from that environment, and you put him into another environment that is conducive of learning and safety and security and all those things, then you see where someone from that location can really be, right? I love the quote that talent is evenly distributed, but resources and opportunity are not. That's real, which means there's Einsteins in the middle of, urban areas, in the middle of the hood, and Black communities and brown communities and wherever else. Provide the resources, and then let's really see where that person may have the solution to some of the biggest problems in the world, but we'll never know if we don't provide them an opportunity and resources, right? And that doesn't happen overnight. This is something that you got to seed for the next generation. That's that longevity we speak about. But like I said, if not now, then when? And if not us, then who? It's not going to get done if we don't make a conscious effort to do it.
I love that. Not only you pull out educate, but I've heard my football coaches, and I probably dropped that as a football coach, that line. I know I have. Right? It's that moment. I'm sure you probably got that in a locker room at some point. You had a big game, and they're like, if not us, then who? This is our moment. Let's do this, right? And you got this. So if we review, you come from that school, you triple major at Penn State, you get your team into a Super Bowl with a big catch, right? And you live out that NFL career, and then you're founder and CEO of this very important company. And are you 30 years old yet?
Nope, not yet.
All right, let's just have a little perspective here. By 30, I think I was closing in on my associate arts degree at Santa Monica Junior College. So, I needed to get some lower level English finished. And that's about it. I just wanted to bring up where I was. Wow, dude, do you ever sleep? What's the story here? What time do you get up every day?
Well, I like to be up 4 a.m.
I do it.
Hours. Yeah, kind of get some meditation in, really set your intentions for the day. I think it's important.
Damn. It is unbelievable work. Okay, so I got a couple of questions for you that might be a little bit fun. Now that you brought up Nipsey Hussle, who did he take his name? Who inspired his name?
I want to say it was my man Nipsey Russell or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, he scored. Nipsey Russell used to crack me up. He was hilarious. He'd be like on all those old games like Match Game, Hollywood Squares, stuff like that. All right. This is just true or false. Perhaps the greatest entertainer of our time is Mario Lopez.
I feel like that's a setup.
It is. I don't know if you watched the beginning of the show. We're doing a live remote from Chula Vista, and when I looked up the most famous people that are from Chula Vista, it was Mario Lopez. So that's why. All right, and then Magnum PI. Do you like the rebooted version or the original version better?
I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
Damn, it was that TV show with Tom Selleck, who no, he was a private investigator in Hawaii. Oh, it's solid.
Okay.
It's good. So I was giving my boy McKay a hard time about that out front. Hey, the last thing, Gary, we when I would interview people at my house, it was like it'd be a sit-down video podcast. So hopefully we get back to this time, right? We get back to that time, and I'd love it if you're in Los Angeles, if you come over and we could flesh a lot of these things out over a long period of time. It would be awesome. But you would also get to take the 74-28 shot in the backyard, right? And so we had like 12 of them did it, and I put them in a tournament, and one guy won it $1,000 for his charity, right? So East Bay got a lot of play out of that. They're going to up the ante. I know they are. So I'd like to see you shoot a bucket in the backyard, because you know who my next guest is going to be that takes that shot is Jerry West. Right. And he's going to knock it down, Mr. Clutch. So I'd like to see you come, knock that shot down, put the bridge right in the hunt for the next East Bay cash prize.
Yeah, next time I'm in LA, I'll definitely reach out and let you guys know. I'd love to come by the studio or your house, I guess is what you said, and figure that out. I'd love to go into more depth about some of these things and take the shot. I'm all about competition.
I love it. I know you are. Hey, fascinating what you got going, and I think we're going to see so much better than what we've already seen. And what we've seen has been great. So congratulations on what you're doing. Let's keep moving people forward, and thank you for being on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me. We always end our meetings at the bridge by saying, let's build, because we're always building bridges. So thank you for having me, and let's build.
Let's build. Let's build. I'm with you. Way to go, buddy. Keep it coming. All right. Man, that didn't suck. Garry Gilliam. Wow, what a guy. Look at the life he's led already. And I just do have this feeling that he's going to be doing much bigger and greater things. Okay. That was fun. I always get up against some of these people, and I'm exhausted by the end of it. There's a lot to think about with an associate arts degree. Really knocks me down. All right. That was fun. Sadly, this will be the last live remote from Chula Vista, where the fire department looks over my right shoulder, but it's camera left. All right. So sadly, we'll be coming back to the 74-28 next Wednesday for our Preps to Olympians show. And then next Friday, another live remote from the Lawrence Welk Resort in Escondido, California. I know all of your grandparents are going to be fired up for that one, because we might just have Lawrence Welk. We won't have Lawrence Welk on. Apparently he won't make it, but we will have somebody important from the Lawrence Welk. I don't know who we're going to have on. I really don't, but it's going to be a great next week. Hey, Garry Gilliam, thank you. That was inspiring. Reach out to a veteran. Mike McKay, he's the best, but go ahead, reach out to a veteran. People can get lonely in situations, and we want to support. All right. Thank you for being in Chula Vista. Mario Lopez out.
Remember, you probably wouldn't forget. Sports Stories is at 5 and you know it's alive. Everything's better yet. Ba-da-da-da-dum. Sports Stories is driving me mad. It's making me crazy, crazy. Sports Stories is driving me mad. It's making me crazy. You should go watch it.
Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is supported by the AAU. Find a local event and join at aausports.org. And remember, you can catch your favorite amateur sports live stream, replays, and highlights at ballertv.com. Sports Stories, along with East Bay, supports the Heroes Movement, a nonprofit that bridges the gap from mental or physical therapy to getting strong again through strength and conditioning workouts. This free service is available for any veteran of the United States Armed Forces. Visit heroesmovementusa.org for more information. Sports Stories, along with thousands of people across the country, also supports the My Stuff Bags Foundation, a nonprofit that provides traumatized children with new belongings and new hope. Learn more at mystuffbags.org. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is a production of Sports Stories, Inc. and is available on Apple Podcasts and YouTube or wherever you listen and watch. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and give us a review. It really helps spread the word. You can find all our social media links, archives, and other info on our website at sportsstoriespodcast.com. Special thanks to the John R. Wooden Course and Wooden's Wisdom. Original music for Sports Stories is courtesy of Lennon Music Productions. Original images by Sienna Lennon Photography. Sports Stories is produced by Christine Jimbo and Marley Rice. Sports Stories is edited by Bob McCall. Additional staff include Ray Castro, Teresa Dolan, Jake Downey, Carlos Haro, and Buck Magic Lennon. Kick it out, Buck!
Yeah, kick it out! Kick it out! Yeah, buddy! Way to kick it out! Job!